In this video, I'm going to show you my complete modeling process for the front cover of the ET66 calculator. Let's do it. As you'll see in this video, I'm showing you my complete process with all of its errors. And I've done that for an important reason. I want you to know that models like these don't emerge without a struggle. You're going to have to go through the process, make mistakes, fix those mistakes, and the quicker you can learn to accept that and thrive in the problem-solving environment, you're going to be in a really great shape to do CAD modeling. So I'm showing you my process so that you can see how I deal with the problems that I encounter. Okay, here we go. All right, we are about to do the top cover of the ET66 calculator. And so I've got myself here SolidWorks open. We're just gonna get going on this. We're gonna make a new file, a new part. I'm going to check to see that I am in millimeters, grams, and seconds, which is what I wanna be. And then I'm also going to come over here and save my file, which is what I like to do. I'm gonna save this in my ET66 video. And I'm going to call this a top cover. And in fact, I might as well put some little qualifier in front of it. My initials, I think, will be good there for that. Cam top cover. All right, then the other thing I want to do actually is I want to set the material while I have a chance to do this. Okay, this is PCABS. Okay, I'm going to come in here and change the material, PCABS. I like to get these things all settled at the very beginning. Plastic, ABS, PC, ABS, apply, close. All right, now we will, in a few minutes, make sure that our appearances are good and that that's not messy. Okay, so now I'm going to take my strategy, and looking at my strategy and the drawings, I'm gonna get going on that. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is make an extrude, and I'm going to make it on the front face. And I want to make it on the front face because that's how I want to do it. I'm also going to see where all the dimensions are being dimensioned from. They're being dimensioned from the top down. So that's actually how I'm going to make my part. I'm going to get a rectangle then and set it up like this. And I'm going to get the center of this line, this one, and this plane to be coincident, which I just messed up on. Okay, first of all, let's move this thing so we can get to the center. There's my center. Holding shift and clicking that, I'm going to make those coincident with each other. I'm going to dimension these. And this is going to be 137. And then I'm going to dimension this, which is going to be 77. Okay, now this is the size of my calculator. I can look down at the bottom and I'm fully defined, so I'm going to accept that as finished. And I'm going to take this sketch, which is now highlighted, and do an extruded boss base. And my extrude is going to be 6.4 millimeters. And I want to see which way I'm going here. I would like it if the front plane was actually the front of the calculator. So I'm going to have it go the opposite direction and go back. We could do either one there, though, if we wanted to. Okay, now because I've chosen to use PCABS, my part is somewhat clear. Okay, so that's slightly messy. And so I guess what I'm going to do is come over to my appearances, plastic, choose some medium gloss, and I'm just going to choose a light gray for now and make the entire body, the entire top cover that light gray. Now this is slightly too dark for my taste, so I think that, well, there's two things that I could do, but I think I'm just going to come over here and choose something that is lighter, even lighter. We'll try this one. That didn't really help very much. Let's come over here and choose this cream color. Okay, well, am I satisfied with that? I'm not sure that I really like that idea. So I think what I'm going to come over here and do is guess I'm just going to make it white for now. Okay, great. Now this doesn't look white, but this is gray, and that's enough for us. I mean, it looks gray, but it's actually white. Okay, do a little bit of that. Okay, the other thing that I usually like to do is I like to look at this in perspective, because then it looks a little more natural to me. So I'm going to watch that in perspective. All right, and then if we want to, we can sometimes watch this in real view graphics, which is what we're doing now. Okay. All right, so that was that first part. Now I want to go do these fillets, and at the top, I'm going to have fillets in this corner, and I'm also going to have fillet in this corner, and I'm going to switch that value to 2, because I remember writing it here that it's a 2. Yep, can I accept that? Then I'm going to come down here and make a different fillet because these are a different size. I'm going to make this fillet, and I'm going to make this fillet. These ones, however, are going to be a 10. You can see it records our last value that we had in there. So it was saved at 2. And if I come over here and use this thing, I can look front on, and that's looking like my calculator. You can see I'm already doing an evaluation to kind of make sure that things are okay. Now on the back side of this, I want to create a sketch. And this sketch that I want to create is going to be a cut that I'm going to go inward. Okay, now you can see my sketch over here. I want to highlight it and say I'm going to look normal to it. And that helps me there. And I'm coming back up to my iPad for a minute. Check the dimensions of this. Okay, so I'm going to use the offset command. And I'm going to offset a certain amount. So Q. Okay, I got to read the note here. Details Q and S have the same profile. This profile is the same along the left, bottom, and the right. So I use my offset command. I want to offset that amount. I want to offset that, but how far do I want to go? I want to offset that 3.6. Okay, and then I also want to offset this one and this one 3.6 because it has the same profile the whole way. It just doesn't have the same profile at the top, according to this. So far I'm feeling pretty confident about that. I'm just going to accept that offset for a minute. And then I'm going to do another offset from the top. And that offset's going to be a different amount. And it's going to be also 3.6. So I guess I could have gone all the way around that. So I'm going to cancel that because it's better to do this in one operation if I can. So delete this, delete. Delete, delete. Now we're going to offset this, 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 that little one, but I don't think it's going to matter. Okay, there we go. And this is the cut inward that we're going to make. So now it's shaded, which means I'm ready to use that to make a cut. And okay, so importantly, here I'm in the middle of my sketch. Down here at the bottom it says fully defined, but over here I've got a negative sign. So those two things are kind of in conflict, and I was just checking it. But I happen to know that the way that this works is that if I'm fully defined in this bottom corner down here, I'm going to be just fine. If I hit accept on this, we'll see that sketch 2 becomes fully defined. Now I'm going to use that sketch to make an extruded cut. and I'm going to make that inward just like that. And from the calculation I did before, this is going to be a depth of 4. And that's not good. Because look, it cut all the way through. So let's go figure out what happened here. Let's edit this feature. We don't want to go 6.4, we want to go 4. Okay, so now we're getting closer and closer to having the right situation here. Now what I want to do is cut those grooves that are all the way around the sides. And the way these grooves work, okay, because right now I'm on part 4 of my strategy. The way these grooves work is that I'm going to cut the non-deep one first, and then I'm going to cut the other one. So on this plane right here, on this plane, not that plane, on this plane, I need to make a cut. So I'm going to right click on that plane and say that I want to make a sketch. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to look normal to that sketch. And then I'm going to offset some of these values. Okay, I'm going to offset command again. I'm going to offset this one, but I want to offset this one in 1.6. 1.6. Now it's going to leave a 1.6. Well, you'll see in a minute what's going to happen with this. Okay, so then I'm going to keep offsetting these. All right. Now, the part that is in this area here I want to keep, and this part I want to get rid of. So now I need to make some more lines here that are going to help me with that cut. Okay. So I'm going to, don't know what just happened there. Okay, my offset died. Maybe I didn't accept it all the way. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Picking these lines. I want all these for the offset. Yes. Okay. Then I need to come up here and I want to extend this cut all the way up. And frankly, it doesn't matter what I do here now. But I am going to want my sketch fully defined. And so that means that I'm going to have to clean up some of my sketch that I just made. Okay. And how are we going to do that? We'll use some geometric relations. Okay. Let's make this one horizontal. And let's make this one and this one collinear. Collinear. Okay. Let's make this one and this one vertical. And let's make this one horizontal. Okay, and I guess we can just make this length and this length equal to each other because that would be fine. Okay, and now we just have to dimension a few of these. Now I can click the Smart Dimension button if I want to, which is what I'm going to do now. And I tend to like these to be even numbers, so I just clean that up a little bit. Okay, 120, and then it looks, you're looking at this and you might be like, hey, why is this not working right? We still need to locate this in space. Okay, and so that's going to get us fully defined now, and we are fully defined. And I'm going to use this shape, this U-shaped thing, to cut downward into my part. Okay, yeah, see this U? It's going to cut downward some depth. So I'm going to use this for an extrude cut. And the question is, how far do I want to go? I'm going to have to look at the drawing to know that. We're talking about detail Q. So I'm going to go down 2.8 on this, according to the drawing. Okay, 2.8. Okay, if I accept that, now we see we are getting something that is starting to look like a piece of plastic. Great. So now we're going to do another one right along that edge that's going to get us our second little depth in there. We're going to do this pretty much the same way we just did the last one, which is that on, okay, we just decide where we want to draw this. Okay, I'm going to draw a sketch on this plane. So I'm going to pick this and make a sketch. I'm going to look normal to this. I'm going to do my offset command again, since there's a lot of offsetting going on here. And the amount that I want to offset on this is, I just have to do a little bit of math here. Okay, this one is going to be 3.6 minus, and I can just do the math right inside of the box right here. 3.6 minus 2.75. Okay, great. I'm going to offset that, and I'm going to offset this, and I'm going to offset this, and I'm going to offset this. Now we're getting ready to do that extra little cut that's in there. Okay, so like I said, we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did last time. And this might come back and haunt us later, but we'll live with it. Okay, this time I'll try to be like, I'll try to make these nice and horizontal and vertical so that I don't have to do all that stuff we did before. We can just do a little bit of what we did before. Okay, this one needs to be vertical. We're going to make this one and this one the same so that we have less things we have to dimension. Whoops. Just made them parallel, which is fine. And what's going to happen if I make them collinear? Is it going to make me want to break the parallel thing? No, because parallel is collinear. Not collinear. Collinear is parallel, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to hit S to do some dimensions. Okay, 160. 105. Okay, and then I need to get this fixed relative to the main planes. Now we're defined. Gonna accept that. And so here we have again another giant U. And we're gonna use this now to extrude cut downward. Now the truth is that there is another way we could do this that I was tempted to do, and that is to use a sweep all the way around the edges, which would have been great, I think. But I think as you're getting started on this, maybe it's just slightly better to have something that's, just a little bit more obvious, just like cuts and extrudes. Okay, so here we go. This is that edge. So one thing that I'm going to do, just because, I'm going to take a cross-section. I'm not going to take a cross-section. I'm going to look at a cross-section to see if it looks like the section in the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to look at this in a particular way right here. Okay, now this is what detail Q should look like. Okay, it looks like we forgot to fillet the front edge, which we can do in a bit. But we have a little cut, a little step, and then a kind of longer step, and then it's the other one. Now there is that chamfer on there that I'm not entirely sure what to do with right now, but we'll worry about that later. Okay, so that's looking good. You can see I'm making the CAD model, and then I'm checking to see if I like it. I'm checking to see if it's good. All right, but we still have this profile up here at the top that's different, and now it's time for us to work on that one. Okay, so come up here to my views, look here straight on. Now what I got to do is R. Okay, so I'm going to do a sketch on, no, don't want to edit that sketch, cancel, discard those changes. What I'm going to do is come in here and create a new sketch. My new sketch that I want to create based on this is that I'm going to offset this line. Okay, that's not entirely what I wanted to do because it assumed I wanted all that stuff, which I do not. So I'm going to grab the stuff I don't want and delete it out of my sketch. And I didn't get to specify when I made this, maybe I accidentally clicked it too fast, what I want this size to be. But I want this size to be 2 millimeters. Right now it's 0.85. That something's wrong with that. So if I do 2, this is going to put us out into space. No. Oh, so I'm offsetting the wrong direction. This is actually not even what I want to do. So let's grab this thing and delete it. Delete. Let's offset entity. We want to offset this. This is what I was trying to do to begin with. Okay. We want this one to be offset 2 millimeters. Great. Okay, excellent. Accept that. Okay. Now we are going to, just as we did before, kind of just do a cut. You know what? We're going to, just so we can practice it, use the extend command. We're going to extend these ones out in that direction. We do want all of our sketches to be fully defined, so I'm going to grab the middle of this, and I'm going to connect it to that middle plane by, that's not what I want to do. What I'm going to do is grab the center point and the middle plane and say that they are collinear, or coincident, excuse me. Then I'm going to come in here and make some some dimensions. This can be anything. We could just accept it the way that it is. That's interesting. I can see this is not a horizontal line, so let's fix up this cut. Okay. This is part of just being clean in the CAD modeling. Oops, I meant to say 100. Okay. And I'm still underdefined. Whenever we are underdefined, you can grab the thing that's blue. See, this is blue here, and you can move it in. If you're not on dimensioning, you can move it in whatever direction it's not defined in yet. So I can see that what I have to do is define this height. Great. Now we should be fully defined, and yes, we are fully defined. Accept that. Now we're going to use this to make a cut. And looking at the drawing, all right, this is a toughie. Because detail R is not telling us everything we need to know. AJ AJ, however, is telling us everything we need to know. Okay, so that's complicated. Gonna have to draw that out a little bit. This is typical. We want to we'll often have to work on our strategy while we're in the middle of this. Okay, so on that end then, this thing here sticks up 2.65. And then I have a cut and a cut. So over here in detail R, I could use a dimension right there. So I'll make a note. Okay, so that's going to be 2.65. And this one here is 2.05. Nope. This one to the bottom is 2.05. The one right in here is 1.45. Okay. Everywhere else, however, this is 4 millimeters. Okay, how do we want to do that? Okay, so that's 1.35. That's the difference here. So up here, right here is 1.35, 1.35. Okay, so 2.05 plus 1.35 equals 3.40. So this one right here is going to be a 3.40. It's funny. .40. Okay, and then this one here is a 1.45 plus 1.35 is going to be 2.8. It's crazy. Okay. So what I'm learning on this, and this is quite important. What I'm learning on this is that the groove is the same. It's just that there is a, what is that? The groove around the edge is completely the same. It's just that it's a little thicker at the top, and there's another cutout. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of Sketch 5. I'm already out of Sketch 5. And I'm going to go back and change the other two sketches that I did, because I think that that will be a smoother, better way to do this. I'm going to edit that sketch. Okay, and I'm going to take this line here, delete it. Take this line here and delete it. And then I'm going to offset entity this one a certain amount that is more than the other ones. I do this one 2 millimeters. My thing's already set for 2 millimeters. I'm going to come in here and look at this normal because it's slightly easier for me to do. I'm going to extend this up, extend this over just by grabbing the ends, and do the trim. Okay. Then I need to do the same thing over here. Get out of the trim thing. Okay, and I come in here and trim. Okay, now, this is interesting. You can see the shape that I have here. I believe that when I do this cut, I can say whether to cut inward or cut outward. So let's try this. I'm gonna hit go on this. It's gonna give me something I don't want, but that's okay. Except, blah, 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 has a problem. Let's exit the sketch and rebuild anyway. Continue, close, come up here into this. Gonna edit this function. And I'm going to flip side to cut. And this says my sketch has, the sketch has both open and closed contours. Okay. Oh yeah. Look, I still have all this other garbage in here. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Cancel, cancel. We need to go back into here and edit this sketch. Edit this sketch. We need to delete everything we had before. Yes, yes, yes. We're going to have to fix a bunch of errors, but that's going to be okay. It's not going to be that hard. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Close. Okay. So what I want to do is go in here and flip the side to cut. Edit, flip side to cut. That's now cutting on the outside of my stuff. And now we are back to at least that little piece looking the way that we wanted to. But we have an error on our other extrude here. And we know that we need to go in and mess with this one anyway to do the same thing, basically to do the same thing we did just a few minutes ago. So we're going to edit this sketch. Okay, why am I doing this? I think it's important to try to figure out why I'm doing this. I could have just made another set of cuts, but it's cleaner if I go back and change the operation to be the way I wanted it to be. Okay, and we're going to create a bunch of errors here by getting rid of these entities that we want that are not here anymore. In fact, I think we're going to need to okay, I think actually what we need to do, because of how this is shaking out, I need to delete completely. I just need to delete completely cut number 3. Okay, cut number 3. We're just gonna get rid of it. Delete cut number 3. Yes, delete cut number 3. Delete. And we want to delete this sketch because this sketch is what was actually giving the problem. Okay, delete that sketch. And we actually don't need sketch number 5 anymore, so we're just going to delete sketch number 5. And now we're back to where we were a few minutes ago, and it's a good time to save. So we save that. Okay, so then what we want to do is we want to put a new sketch, because we need to get that little step in there. I'm going to put a new sketch on this face. New sketch. I'm going to look at that sketch right on, and we're going to do some offsets. And the offset that I want to do is this one first. And in our drawing, what did we have here? 3.6 minus 3.6 minus 275. 3.6 minus 2.75. Okay, we know we want that around the left side, the bottom side, and the right side. And then I'm not entirely sure what we want in this other area. Okay, so this one will be 3.6 minus 275, which is what we just did. Okay, yep. So now we are set with that. We're going to accept this as the sketch. And then from that sketch, that didn't come out fully defined, which is troubling to me. So we're going to go back and edit it and figure out why. Oh, we need to finish it. There we go. Now it's done. We're going to take this sketch and we're going to do a cut. And we're going to flip the direction so we're cutting outward. And you can see that in this arrow right here. It's saying cut that way. If I flip it, it's going to cut inward. I'm going to cut outward in this case. And how far down do I want to go? I want to go 3.4 minus 2.8. So that's 0.6. That's already what we got scheduled on there. Yep, just like that. File, save. Okay, now I got cut 1, 2, 4, because remember we had cut 3, but we deleted it. Okay, and then there's some other wacky stuff going on up here that I noticed in the drawing. So just going to check some of that. AK, section AK, says that I should be putting a 0.5 millimeter radius on this corner. So let's add that fillet, a 0.05, or not 0.05, just 0.5, according to the drawing. Yep, and we want this other corner as well. So that's this one. Okay, we're going to accept that. And then there's some other thing going on here where there's a cutout. How will we learn how to do that cutout? Okay, that cutout is not shown on page 1. It's not shown on page 2 or 3. Maybe section AI. Where's section AI? Oh, here we go. It's this cutout shown as 86.15. Okay, now it turns out I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait on that one because I can see that it's also cutting out the buttons. No, I'm going to do it now. Okay. There are various right ways to be doing this, and the best thing to pay attention to is, are all of your sketches fully defined? All of my sketches are fully defined, and I'm doing this in a reasonable order, and my planes are placed in good places right now. So that's how I know I'm doing reasonably well with this. Okay, cancel that. It's not what I wanted. Discard those changes. I want to add a new sketch to this plane. New sketch. And what I want to do is use some geometric relations. I'm going to make this thing and this thing collinear. And then I think for now, I'm actually going to make this and this collinear as well. And then I'm going to center this with the center plane. That was the wrong one. You can know you picked the wrong thing if it's not giving you the option that you need. But if you hover on these lines, okay, come on. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong one. I was holding the wrong one. If I pick that guy and this guy, now I'll have that option to make it coincident, meaning they occupy the same space. Okay, now I'm going to get this, and we had decided a second ago that was 68.15. Great. And that's fully defined. I know because it turned all black and because I've been keeping track of what's going on with this. Okay, and then the depth that we want to go on this is, I wrote it down a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's 1.35, but I'm going to check it in the drawing. Yeah, because I want it to be 2.65 from the bottom. Okay, so that's 1.35. Can use that extrude cut down 1.35. That does not look like it's gone deep enough, but we can always change this. Oh, there we go, it updated. Okay. Wow, that was a lot of work just to get to this point. Okay, and there's a few more things we need to do. We need a radius around the edge, but frankly, I'm gonna wait for the radius around the edge because I might accidentally pick the radius later as a reference plane, which I don't really want to do. Okay, now it's time for the fun part, and that is that we're gonna work on the front. I guess we've been going about 40 minutes or so. Okay. Okay, so I got 25 of those. I know the distance between them, and I know there's a center, one in the center. Okay. So I'm going to put the one in the center first. So on this, let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Yes, okay. On this, I want to create a new sketch. And I want to look normal to that sketch. There's probably a hotkey to look normal to that sketch. That's what I want. I want this thing to be centered on that center line. And then I want it to be a certain distance away from this plane to the center line. And that is specified in the drawing as 121.8. Okay. And then I need a diameter on that, which is 9.15. Great. That's fully defined. I'm now going to take this and blast it through everything with a cut. So extrude cut. And frankly, I don't want to go blind. I could, but if I ever change the thicknesses or whatever, it's going to cause me trouble. So I want to go through everything. And frankly, I got a little beep on that. Was that this thing? All right, I don't know what beeped. Just gonna keep going. It's important while we're going along to kind of like check stuff. It sort of seems like it's thick right in here. And so I'm feeling like I want to just do a little evaluate and measure the distance from this plane to this plane. Should be 2 point something, I thought. Yeah, and what we're looking for here is the one called the normal distance. Okay, my normal distance is 2.4. And when I look at the cross sections here, yeah, I should be 2.4 millimeters thick. So that's correct. Be great if I knew my mass halfway through this. Ah, my lights just turned off. And they just turned back on. So why don't I actually just do a mass properties here, so we can know what's going on. I love having a piece of paper. I use paper to keep track of stuff. At this point in the process, we are 30.26 grams. Now, whether that's 100% right or not, I'm not sure. But I've checked a few things and I feel pretty good about it. Make sure we save. So that's like the front with one hole, fillets around the edges, all of the kind of detailed edges. Yeah, so all right, now I'm going to take this thing that we just did, which is this cut, and I'm going to pattern it, linear pattern, and I could do two patterns at once, and maybe we'll do that. Okay, so we know that the distance between these circles is 13, according to the engineering drawing, 13. Okay, and then the direction, the way we choose the directions here, it's best if we can use these planes. If I pick this plane, then I will have direction going up. Okay, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going up. So I need to knock these down by 2. Okay, and then direction number 2, let's see if I can do this all at once. Okay, direction number 2 is this direction. Okay, and I want to have, this needs to be 13 as well. And it doesn't look like it will let me do the full set at this point. So I'm going to say yes on this. Okay, and that's good. And then I'm not entirely sure if this is considered sloppy or not, but I'm going to mirror that whole pattern, which is highlighted around the center axis. And just accept that as being good. And we have all of our holes. So that's great. Now what we want to do is get our little holes for the power buttons and stuff. Okay, so on here then we're going to make a new sketch. We're going to look normal to that sketch. If anyone finds out what that hotkey is to look normal, I love it because I hate going over there to always have to say that. Okay, now I'm going to do something odd. It's slightly odd. I guess I'm just going to put 2 on here at the same time in my sketch, which may not be the best thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway just to show how it can be done. Okay, and then I'm going to dimension from here to the center, and that is going to be 13. And then from here to this center is going to be 26. We could know it was going to be 26 because they're in line with the circles that are all 13 off from each other. We want this center and this center to be horizontal. We want this circle and this circle to be equal in their diameter. We're going to set that diameter right now to be equal to 5.3. I don't think that worked. Okay, dimension 5.3, is that what I said? 5.3, they both change, of course. And then we need to place this in space the rest of the way, which is to go from the center of the circle to this edge. And that one should be 50.35. Now they've turned black, it says fully defined at the bottom. We accept that. It's already highlighted, so we come up here into extrude. We're going to go through all. See, it's going in the right direction. And now we have those holes. Excellent. Save. Now what we're going to do is pop the window in there for the LCD. And you know, instead of hitting that normal thing all the time, I guess I could come in here and then just say that I want to create a sketch. And my sketch that I want to create is like this. So sometimes I do this. I know that I want it to be centered along this center thing, but I've offset it so that I can easily grab the point and say that it's going to be coincident. Then I can come in here and do the dimensioning that we want to do. Okay, and this one is 27.85. 27.85 times 2. Okay, and then this one is 35.75 minus 22.3. Okay. Then we have this sized, but we need to place it the rest of the way in space. So from here up to that thing is going to be 35.75. It's turned black. I got my fully defined at the bottom. Feeling great about that. Now I'm going to do extrude cut. Same thing we did before, through all except. Boom. We got that thing. Great. It's starting to look like a calculator at this point. Okay. Now we need to get these chamfers on here. And these chamfers are defined. I could see them in section O. Yeah, section OO. And then section OO is going to tell me that V and U are the ones we need to worry about here. Okay, so we're going to do this one first. Save. We're going to come up here into chamfer. We're going to chamfer this edge, and this edge. By the way, it's all orange right now, and it hasn't like shown me the preview, even though I said full preview. It's because we're trying to make a chamfer that's 10 millimeters, and that's giant for this part. So if I make it 1, it's not giant anymore. We can see the chamfer preview. But what we have here is a chamfer that is not a 45-degree chamfer. I've got something else going on here, and in section U, or excuse me, detail U of the drawing, I can see that what I want to do is specify something like this, and I want this to be asymmetric because I want 2 dimensions. And frankly, okay, distance 1, I don't know which one is distance 1 and distance 2, so we're going to just try it and see what happens. Okay, distance 1 is 2, and distance 2 is 1.4. And we're going to see if this came out the way we want it to be. So we want it to be wider and shallow instead of deep and narrow. And that is what we did, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's right. We can always change it later if we need to. I'm going to check it. Okay, and how am I going to check it? I'm going to make myself a cross section. I'm going to go in here, say okay, look here at this end. And yeah, I've gone more this way than I have down, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go more that way than down. So that's good. Turn off that section. Excellent. Now it's time for us to see if we can figure out how to do this bottom one. This might be more complicated, or it might not be. Choose it. Come over here. Hit chamfer. And on this one, we are the same situation, which is that we want to go into this option, and then lengthwise we want to be 5. Yeah, and then depth-wise is 1.4. Yes. That's what we want. It's looking great. Okay. Come in here and save this. Save. Now I go back to my strategy because I knew I needed to do all that. And I need to get a sense for where we are in the strategy. So we've done number 1, we've done number 2, we've done 3, 4, 5, we've done 6, we've done 7, we've done 8. Now it's on to doing number 9, which is those cuts on the bottom. Not the cuts, but the kind of like extrudes. And by extrude, I mean the feature shown in detail W. Yep, the features shown in detail W. How do I want to do this? I'm just going to start in the bottom corner, then I can pattern everything up. So on this plane, I want to create a sketch. I want to look normal to that sketch. I'm going to come down here and offset entity. Boom, this entity. And that radius needs to be, I don't know exactly what happened there. I wonder if I can outright dimension this. Let's try. Whoops. Might tell me I have a redundant dimension, which it does. And I'm going to say okay, and then I'm going to come into this one. Oh, can I delete this dimension? Delete this dimension. And then I can change this. So that was sort of a messy way of doing that. And I am going to right now. Okay. Okay, this was, like I said, that was messy and it's getting us into trouble. So we're not going to do that. We're going to delete this. And we're going to do something else. We're going to come in here and we're going to convert entities. And what we're going to do is we're going to get this circle and convert it to this sketch. Then I'm going to make another circle concentric to this circle, which happened when I clicked the center of it, it made it concentric. Then I'm going to create a dimension on this, which is going to be 5.58 times 2. All right, great. So that is, let's see what happens here. Okay, yes. So now what I want to do is extrude this upward. Extrude. And the question is, how far do I need to extrude that up? What I want to do is I need to check some of these cross sections. I need to find a cross section that goes through that. And it looks like section 00. It's weird. Seems like section 00. Oh, yeah. Section 00 does not have the cut that I want because there's this part doesn't exist on section 00. What I need is one of these other sections. Let's just keep looking. Okay, a section AG might have it. Yeah, there we go. Section AG, the dimension is 2.4. And got my scratch paper. Where did it go? Here we go. 2.4. Excuse me, 4.2. 4.2. This is awesome, isn't it? 4.2, 4.2, 4.2. Okay, it's 4.2. But then I also have that thickness that's already there. And that thickness was 2.4. Okay, so I want this to be, I want this dimension to be 4.2 minus 2.4. I guess I want it to be 1.8. Okay, so I'm going to accept that. Now what do we have? We have a ring around one of those. What we need to do is chop away at it a bit. And as we chop away at it, it's important to look at that and realize from, let's see, which section shows this? This is a complicated part. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. So detail W shows that I have 3 cuts that are the same size and they're 2.4 in width, and then I got one that's 3.5 in width. So what I'm gonna do is make the one that for which there are 3 first. And how am I gonna do that? I'm gonna come in here. Okay, so now this is slightly challenging. I want the center of this circle, but I can't get it by just, it's not there. I can't pick on it. I want to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this circle to this plane, or to this sketch. Then I'm going to take that circle. Here we go. Circle. Why is my circle not? Okay, I want to actually change that entity to a construction line, which I should be able to do without a lot of trouble, but it's not giving me the menu for that. So let's delete that. I don't know why I'm not seeing that menu. That's troubling. Delete that. See if I make a regular line. Where is that properties thing? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's try that again. Delete that. Let's try what we were doing a minute ago. Convert entity. That entity. Accept. Now, this, when I click on it, I like it when it goes to the properties, but it didn't for some reason. Now I can say for construction. Now that's in my sketch, but it's not part of the geometry that I'm going to be creating. So I'm also going to create a line like this and make it a construction line. All right, now I'm going to use this as a way of, oh, okay, I didn't actually need that line. Now I'm realizing I didn't need that line. Okay, so I'm trying to make a cut, and this cut, then I'm going to rotate it around in a circular way. I'll show you that in a second. Whoops. I don't know what that was. Huh, that's the plane. You can actually move your planes, which I didn't want to do. Not move them, you can change their size. What I want to do is move this line into here. Okay, and then we actually don't need this construction line, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, and then what we want to do is make this thing whatever size that was supposed to be, 2.4. Okay, and we can see that it didn't stay centered with the circle. So I got to grab the center and make it the same as the circle. Coincident. Okay, and that is the cut we want to make. I need to clean up my sketch a little bit here. Now it's fully black, fully defined, accept that. Now I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to extrude cut, and I'm going to go up to surface. I want to go up to this surface right here. Okay, and that has given me the cut that I want. Now I'm going to take this thing and I'm going to create a circular pattern. And my circular pattern is going to have 3 instances, and it's going to go 270 degrees. And the direction that it's going to take is the same as this direction. That's not, wow, that's so whack. That's not what I want it to do. Good thing the preview comes up. Okay, that might have been a bad surface to grab because I'm not sure about what's going on there. So let's delete this. Delete. Okay, that was weird. Okay, equal spacing. I don't... Okay, no, because I'm not going 270. I'm going 180. This is our problem. Go back to our thing here. Boom. Okay, and okay, so look what it's done here. I've got the cutout, the cutout, the cutout. I actually don't want the cutout up here. I want it down here. So I need to flip direction like this. Boom. That's what I want. And I just need to do the same operation to make a bigger one up here, and then we'll copy it everywhere and we'll be done with that. So on here then, we're going to create a sketch. Again, we're going to look normal to that. Going to come in here and I need to get the center of that circle. It seemed like the only way I could do that before was to do it this way, but now I have multiple faces going on, so if I take this one at the bottom, at least I'll get a full circle, and that will be a little bit better, I think. Now I want to take that circle and change it to a construction line. now I need a rectangle. It goes up here like this. Gonna get this thing center. You gotta hover on it for a bit until the center appears. Tell it I want that to be coincident. Excellent. Now I want to get this dimension, this one, to be 3.5. And then this is an arbitrary dimension, but I like to clean it up so it's just extra clean and finished and that sort of stuff. Now we're going to take this, we're going to do an extrude cut. And we're going to go up to surface and up to this surface. Great. Now we have that, and we're just going to do a double check on the drawing, make sure we're doing okay. That's looking good. Okay, now what we're going to do is pattern all of that by taking that, that, and that, and that, and we're going to do a linear pattern on it. Linear pattern. And direction number 1 is going to be this direction, and we're going to have to, how many instances? 5, yes, and we're going to have to flip that direction. Great. And direction number 2, notice I'm picking the planes. I could pick surfaces of the part, but it's best if I can select the planes because those are references that will always be there. Okay, that's gotten messed up here. Second 3, here we go, 5. Look, the preview is looking right. That's what we want. Let's accept it. See if it gets us what we want. Excellent. Now, what does my strategy say? That was number 11. Excuse me, that was number 10. Now I'm on to number 11. Number 11 is to do all these posts. Oh, no. Number 10 is to do the posts that are here in the middle. Okay. So to do that, I'm going to draw a post right in here. Okay, so we've been going for about an hour on this. Sketch. What I'm going to do, those should have been concentric. I can fix that in a minute. I'm going to check to see if these holes are at the depth, like the same depth. Like, can I do the operation at the same time? Oh, and it looks like I can. If I look at section AE, I can extrude up a ring instead of a whole cylinder and have to cut down a hole. So I'm going to do that. And my depth is 5.3 minus 2.4. 5.3 minus 2.4. I'll have to come back to that one in a bit. And then I just need to get the diameter of those posts. Okay, here we go. Detail Z, detail Y. Detail Y is what I need for that post. So, here we go. These two, we need to first make them concentric. Grab their centers. Okay, I could make their centers the same, or I could make them concentric. So, I'm going to make their centers the same. I'm going to dimension now the outside 4.35 and the inside 1.94. And in detail Y, you can see on that drawing there is a 13x diameter 1.94 with a line and an arrow pointing down 2.9. That is how high, that is how deep I would drill a hole if I was going to drill a hole. But I just checked in the other section, which was section, just so you know what I'm talking about here. That was section AEAE, that those are the same. And that's the number that I wrote down 5.3 minus 2.4. So that would be the same as the dimension we just saw. So I'm going to accept this. I'm going to, oops, I forgot to place it in space. Okay, this is great. I got its size, but not its place in space. And how do I know? Because there's a minus sign next to the sketch. So I'm going to go edit this, and I need to put it in place, in space here. So dimensioning from the center to this plane. See if we can find that dimension in there. 19.5. And then 115.3 to the top plane. That's almost exact. 115.3. Okay, that's not a big deal. I guess I had to place it in between these, and I just placed it well. Okay, so now it's black, which means it's totally defined, ready to go. We're going to take that sketch, and we're going to extrude upward, and we're going to extrude up 5.3 minus 2.4. Should be that 2.9. Okay, that's great. That's worked out for us. Now I'm just going to look to see if there's a chamfer on that or anything like that. If there is, I can put it there now before. Well, I guess there's no chamfer there. Or radius. Fillet, I mean. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take that boss extrude, and I'm going to make a linear pattern of it. Linear pattern. We're going to go in this direction. Flip it. I only want 2. Okay, I just heard a beep there again. And now we're going to be 19 point something, 19.5 times 2. Actually, you know what? It's going to be better. I'm just going to do these upward and then mirror them. Yeah. So I don't even want to go in this direction. So I'm going to delete that direction. And instead I'm going to pick this direction. Maybe my lights are going to go off up there. Okay, 13 and 13, 26. Okay, I want this to be 26. Then that means I jump 2 holes and have one of these. Great, and then I want to have another one of those right up there. And then I think this other one is not correct. Yeah, it's not that. So I want those 3. I'm just going to do everything below the 2 small buttons and then go think about everything above the buttons. So that's great. Now I'm going to take that linear pattern. I'm going to mirror it across this. Okay, I guess I could have just done that in the pattern. Okay, now I have 2 smaller posts that I need to deal with. And then we'll be done with everything below the 2 circles. Okay, so that's going to be on here. We're going to create a sketch on here. Look normal to that. And going to have a little one in here. And I think there's another little one right inside of it. Let's go find the spot in the drawing where we would learn about that. Okay, detail Z. it detail Z? Yes. Detail Z. Okay, now interestingly, okay, 2.6. Excuse me, 5.7. Okay, I gotta go look at that other sketch to see if, oh yeah, okay. Okay, 8.10 minus 2.4 is how high these posts are gonna be. Okay, now go back to detail Z. That will give us everything we need to know. Okay, now maybe, I don't want to do that. Okay, so dimensioning. This one here is going to be 2.6 diameter. Okay. And then this one is going to be 1.05 diameter. Okay. Now, dimension-wise, from here to here, I think it's 13. No, it's 13 divided by 2. Yeah, 6.5. And then from here, I'm trying to wait for the center to highlight. There we go. Up to this top is like the 115.3. I think it's 115.3. We're just going to check. Yeah, 115.3. So, look, I'm trying to be careful in this. Everything's black, fully defined, ready to go. Now I'm going to take that thing and I'm going to extrude it up. And the amount that I'm going to come up is 8.1 minus 2.4. 8.1 minus 2.4. Okay, and that's supposed to stick up higher. Now, is there, I gotta look again to see if there's a chamfer on the top of this or anything like that. I think the actual calculator, this is very, very true to the actual calculator, but there are a few extra chamfers like on the top of those that I chose not to have you try to model. Okay, now I gotta go do the same thing. I can't pattern this in any great way, so I need to go do the same thing right up in here. Make a sketch, come down here, look at that sketch. See if I can get it to be in the center of these. Nope, doesn't want to do that. Okay, this time I will dimension the smaller number first, since that kind of messed me up last time. Didn't mess me up a lot, but it was a little bit inconvenient. I think this was a 1.05, if I remember right. Better check. I'm looking for detail 1.05. Is that what I just wrote? Okay, I don't know what just happened there. S 1.05. Okay, and then dimension 2.6. Excellent. And then from this dimension to this one, it's going to be 13 plus 6.5. Whoops. 13 plus 6.5. Okay, and then from here, S is my shortcut key to that dimensioning thing. 76.3. 76.3. Okay, it's turned all black, means we're totally defined. We're going to take that thing then, and we're going to extrude upward that same amount we did last time, which is 5.7. Excellent. We're going to save this because we're getting kind of far along. I'm going to take this extrude and mirror it across this middle one. Yes. And that gets us everything we needed below the two circles. Let's just check that. Yep. Okay. Now since we're in the mode of doing these posts, let's go up there and do all those other posts that are up at the top. And on these ones, I can just, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff and then mirror it. Okay, where does that take us in our strategy? Oh, dang, yeah, we're only on number 11. Okay, save. I might have just saved a second ago. We're going to do it anyway. Okay, on this face, I want to make a sketch. I want to look at that sketch, normal. And what's going to happen here? I'm going to have a set of circles right in here. You know, these are all the same. Detail Y. So I'm just going to put these right in the same sketch. Which is not always the best thing to do, but since we're copying this design and not designing it ourselves where we know we're going to need to want to make a lot of changes, I'm pretty okay. Okay, that's not what I want. I'm pretty okay just speeding that one just a little bit. Okay, then this one should be 1.94. Okay, and then this one should be 4.35. Then I want to take this one and hold shift and click this one and say that they're equal. And I want to take this one, shift, hold this one, and say that they're equal. Now I need to place these in space. Grab the center of that to the center line. And that's 20. It's 24.9 for that one, 24.9. And then for this one is 29. I take that back. It is 28. 28. Okay. Then we got some more dimensions from this plane to this thing. And that is 9.2. And then from this one to this one is 15.2. 15.2. Those have turned black, so we're in good shape on those. We're going to take those sketches and cause an extrusion in the upward direction to happen. And that one is going to be the same height as the one we did a while ago. So that's 5.3 minus 2.4. 5.3 minus 2.4. 2.9. Great, that's looking good. I'm not going to mirror yet. I'm going to wait till I can do a bunch of mirrors at once. So we're going to make a new sketch on here. because we have a little tiny post that we need to deal with. It's sticking up there. That's interesting. Okay. Little tiny post. It's good to place it in generally the right spot. This little post is 2 in diameter. Okay. And then we want to get its placement relative to the center axis for the center distance. That's 23. And then we want to get from this datum to this one, and that is 17. All right. Now we're done with that one. And we need to extrude it up some distance, but I don't know how far up it's supposed to go. So we got to go find a section that tells us the answer to that. So we need to look for a section line that goes through one of those. Okay, section AE looks like it goes through a little post. Are there 3 of those posts? No, there's 2 of those posts. Detail X. Let's go look at detail X. Okay, that one's 2 millimeters in diameter. Okay, so there's another little post in between the 2 circles. I need to know how high that post is. It's possible that it's the same as AE. And if I look at AE, can't. Well, it says that it's 5.9 from the front face. 5.9 minus 2.4. Looks like that might be it. Is there any other section that tells us what that value is? I'm going to have to assume at this point that is the answer to that. And maybe it's the same height as everything else here, so we'll find out in just a second. Extrude. Okay, so this one would be then 5.9 minus 2.4. It's 3.5. Sticking up a little bit further than the other ones. For now, I don't have anything else to go with, so I'm going to have to go with that. Okay, so we have those 3 things that we're getting close to being able to mirror, but we also have these other ones that we could also mirror. Let's go get that one placed. On here we're going to make a sketch. Make it normal. Okay. This one, I should know it by now, is 1.94. I don't remember that. and this one is 4.35. Okay, and then this number to this one is 13 plus 6.5. Yep. And then from the center to here, 45. Okay. Then this one is going to stick up as much as those other ones did. Which is 5.3. Extrude that. This one is 5.3 minus 2.4. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one. There's 3 of them in a line. I'm going to take these 3 and pattern them in a linear pattern. Do I want to do that? Yes, I'm going to do that. Linear pattern, that one. The direction I want to go is that way. Flipping it. Oops, not that. Flipping it. And then our distance between these needs to be 13 plus 6.5. That's like kind of one of the patterns in this whole thing, is that number. That's why I'm not looking at the drawing necessarily, because I can tell that that's what the number should be. Okay, so in order to pretty much finish up these posts, I am going to go ahead and mirror this one and this one across the center line over to there. Say yes on that. I also was looking at the drawing and noticing something I had sort of forgotten, and that is that the inside corner of this window has a little fillet in it on this edge. Oops, not that edge. Let's actually go up to our fillet command. This corner, that corner, that, not that corner. Delete. That one. And that one. And the value of that is 0.5, just as we have it already. Okay, so that was a little detail we needed to take care of. So we're looking pretty good. We still have to put that radius in the front, but I'm trying not to do that till the end because I don't want to reference it. Okay, we've been going now for about an hour and a half. We have a little circle that we need to put there. Let's see how I'm doing on my strategy before I get too carried away here. Okay, we're not doing bad. We want to... Let's go get the stuff around this circle worked out. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to create a sketch. And I got to look normal to that sketch. That's how my brain wants to deal with it. You don't have to look at it that way. There's a lot of things going on here. So I have a ring that comes up and a cut that goes down. So this ring that comes up, let's convert some entities. This one, for example. And let's turn this into a construction line. There's probably a better way for me to do that, but it seems to be the only way I know how to do that right now. And then I want to make a circle that is concentric with this. and another circle that's concentric with that. I'm going to do the outside ring first. And this one here, .5 radius, 4.5 times 2. And then this one is 5.65 times 2. Okay. Now, frankly, I could do this and then do a cut. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do it in the sketch. So, are we still in the sketch? No, we're not still in the sketch. So, we're going to go back over here and edit this sketch. Edit. Okay. And then I can see from this that we need a line that goes from the center line. And I've waited till it got to the little yellow thing to let me know that it's directly upward. And then I'll do a line again this way. Now I'm going to come in here and trim some stuff. Trim, 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 and trim. Perfect. That's what I want. I'm going to take that shape. Wait a second. That's not what I want. I have these two lines dangling around in here. Okay. Edit that sketch. Delete and delete. Now I have an underdefined sketch because of these two blue things, which I need to just go clean up here for a second. We don't want an underdefined sketch. It'll cause us trouble. So I'm going to take this thing and this thing and make them, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, I don't want them to be coincident. I don't want to make that point. Okay, I'm going to have to do a construction line, I think, from here. Like this. Choose this line and make it a construction line. Then what I need to do is pick this line, whoops, not the center of that line, and this other line and make them collinear. And that will, I think that will make that one go black. Yes, it did. And now I need to do the same thing for the vertical. See, the problem right now is that this thing can move, right? It doesn't know where it's supposed to be. And so I'm going to go this way, straight up. I'm going to take this line. And when we made this a minute ago, we had these lines, but we trimmed them away and stuff like that. So I need them in here as construction lines. Select. Okay. Now I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to say collinear. And now we are fully defined. Are we fully defined? Yes, we're fully defined. Now we're going to take that sketch that I just did, sketch 12, and we're going to extrude it upward. And the question is, how far are we going to extrude it upward? We're going to have to look at a cross section to know that. And I want AJ. AJ. Okay. This sticks up 4 from the front face. So that's 4 minus 2.4. 4 minus 2.4 because the thickness is 2.4. Great. That is what we want right there. Excellent. Now what we need to do is cut a little recess in here. So what we're going to do is make a new sketch. Take that sketch, look at it straight on. I'm going to convert entities, this one. In this case, I want to keep it actually. And then I want to make a new circle. just like this. I want to dimension that circle. And I have to look at the drawing now. 7 diameter. And it tells me right here in detail X that I need to go down 0.9. Now I want to extrude cut that 0.9. See which way did we go? We went the right way. Boom. Excellent. That's what we want. Okay, now I need to mirror this over to here, and I can tell from the drawing that, well, I know from when I sketched these, this circle and this circle, that they are at the same position as this circle and this circle. So I can put a plane right through these things, and that will work. And actually, there's a couple ways for me to do that, but the right way for me to do it really. So what I was going to say a second ago was that I could put an axis in this hole and an axis in this hole and then put a plane between the two axes. But now that makes that plane dependent on these two features. The best thing for me to do actually is to create a new reference plane off of this one. Okay, look, I've messed that up. Delete that and delete that. Flip the direction of this thing, flip the offset, and I want this to be 13 plus 6.5. And that's going to put a plane right through all of those posts. And what I want to do now is take all those features I just did and mirror them over this plane. So I'm going to go to, where's that? Okay, down here at the bottom, cut and extrude, and I want to mirror across this. Boom. Okay, great. Save this, save. Okay, we're getting closer, getting closer, getting closer. There's still some stuff we got to do. Okay, got to pop another small post on this. This is that post I was referring to earlier that is right on this plane, right in between these two. It has a diameter of 2 because I know that because there were 3 of them. And then this one has to be extruded. Oops. Underdefined. We don't want underdefined. Edit this sketch. We need to define where this is in terms of the top plane. 53.7. 53.7. Accept. Okay, now we're going to extrude this sucker. We need to decide what we want to extrude. We're going to extrude this thing. Extrude. Frankly, I want it to be as high as these ones over here. This one. So I could try that. Let's just do that. Up to surface, and I click this thing. Okay. That could have been dangerous to do, but like I said, we are modeling a system that already exists. Otherwise, we would have maybe wanted to keep them independent so we could change them. Okay, now what we need to do is, wow, there's just a bunch of little boxes. Let's just go get these boxes. Okay, how are we going to do this one? Let's find the drawing that defines this. Okay, first of all, here we go. Make a sketch. Okay. We're going to have a little rectangle over here. We're going to have a little rectangle over here. And we're going to have a little rectangle over here. These all appear to be the same. they're 3.5. Okay, let's do this. I'm speeding up the process just a little bit by doing these all at the same time. It's maybe not the best practice in the world, but it's not that bad. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is dimension these. Probably doing this in a pattern is probably even better. Well, I stick one up there, and then I don't have to think about it anymore. Okay. All right, now I want this one, using geometric relations here, I want this to be, and this to be vertical to each other, or collinear, excuse me. Okay, and then I want this and this to be collinear. Okay, and then we have from the center line over to this edge, whoops, trying to give it a dimension. Okay, so this one is 33.6 minus 3.5. All right. And same is true on the other side. $30.10. Okay, and then from here to here is 36.07. And then from here, I wonder if my screen capture is still working. Cancel. Hope so. From here to here is 24.87. 24.87. Those are all nice and firm. We're good to go, i.e. they were totally defined. Now we're going to extrude boss base these. And I have to figure out how high they go. And figuring out how high they go means I have to find the right cross section for this. Okay, here we go. AI. Okay. 310. They're legit 310 high. 3.10. Okay. Save. Okay, now I got this funky thing. This bar. Let's do the bar. Where's the bar defined? Which drawing defines the bar? Here we go. Section AC. Section AC is what we need. Okay. So I guess I'm going to do this all in just one little run here. Now that battery holder is like a little daunting. I'm not really wanting to get to it, so that's sort of on my mind at this moment. Okay, I'm doing this, gonna center this. Come on, get the point, yep, and get this thing. Tell it that it's centered, excellent. Let's get a dimension on this. And this dimension is 1.1. And then let's get a dimension from here to here. And this one is 28.15. 28.15. Then we need to place this thing in space, and it's 41.4 from the top plane. 41.4. And that's turned black, so we are good to go on that. And the question is, how high does it go? I can see from the drawing, it goes to the same height as the cylinders that are near it. So we're going to extrude that then to, up to surface, this surface. Excellent. That's that. Now we've got a bunch of other like little boxes we have to deal with. Okay. I can see from the center post that the little features are in line with the circle. The little fins are in line with the circle. And so I can know that they are 2.9, they are 0.9. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to come in here. We are going to pattern this one as well. So we're going to come in here, make a sketch. Okay. What we have is a sort of rectangle in here. Clean that up in a second. Okay, we're going to convert this entity so we can get the center line of it. And frankly, I don't know why I don't know how to do that otherwise, other than to convert the entity. So what we want to do now is get this center and this thing to be cool. No. I want to get the center of this and this thing to be vertical. Yep. And then I want to get this dimension to be 0.9. Yeah, I want this to be 0.9. 0.9. And then this dimension right here doesn't matter, nor does this one really matter, because I'm just trying to get the little chunk that's in the middle. And the way that that works is that we're going to extrude that up to surface, and we're going to come up to this surface. Right. There we go. Now we're going to take that and linear pattern it this way. We take that one. We're going to go linear pattern, and direction, this direction, flip it right. That is what I want. Great. Save this. How are we doing? We're on about 2 hours of this. Probably should be standing. It's probably going to take us 2.5 hours. We have these last little features to do. And, okay. And then we got to do the battery thing. Edit sketch, create a new sketch. Okay, so now what we have is some sort of little rectangle that looks like this. And we need some dimensions on this. And this is, okay, 27.45 minus 25.95. Okay. And then the amount that it sticks up is 1.85 minus 1.1. Great, that looks about right. And then from here over to the center line is 27.45. And that's fully defined. So we're great on that. We're going to extrude this thing up some amount, but how far up it comes is a matter of the cross section. You might be wondering, like, why do all these things matter? Why do all these things matter? Well, this is what it takes. This is what it takes. Hold on a second here. 2.8. Yeah. Okay, we are 2.8 on this. This is what it takes to get the LCD and other stuff locked in well. In here, you're going to have all these little features. All these little features matter. So I'm going to mirror this across this thing. We're going to say yay on that. Then we have one more, and we have three more. We have one more to do here that we can then pattern. On here, make a new sketch. Wow, this is sketch 27. It's a lot of sketches in this part. It's a complicated part, as you know. Okay. Now on this one, we know this dimension here is 0.9, and we know that because that's what we read that earlier, and I remember it. The height of this, I don't know what the height of that is, but one of these, detail C will tell us probably, yeah, 3.3. Okay. And then 17.25 from here to the center plane. 17.25. And we're fully defined. Take it. And then we're going to extrude this one up. And how far up do we go? Nobody knows. We have to go find the section that tells us. Okay. Not seeing it on page 1. Not seeing it on page 2. Okay, it will be on section IAI. It's 0.6. I didn't realize they'd be so small, but they are. 0.6. Excellent. Great. Now we're ready to take that thing, linear pattern it in this direction, flip it. That is not the amount that we want to offset these. We want to offset these 17.25, I think. But that might not be right either. No, it's going to be 17.25 plus half of 9. Plus 0.45. Now it's correct. Excellent, excellent. Okay, now we just have that battery. So how are we doing on this? You can see that we have got, just checking the features. Okay, that's great. What we have to do now is we have to fix the, not fix, but we have to do the battery holder. Okay, let's see how hard this is going to be. Okay, where are we on our strategy? I had some thoughts about this one before. Okay, so we finished, okay, so we're on 14, but we did 18 and 19 before we did 14. So we have a giant circle. Okay, we're going to put a big old circle in here, and then we're going to chop it away. Sketch. Already looking at that normal. Okay, there is some giant circle that is on the center line. It's not that giant, it's like that. And then there's another circle on the center line. It's like that. We're just going to get that far first. Okay. 7.05 radius. So 7.05 times 2 is going to get smaller. Okay. That seems wrong. Oh, it doesn't seem wrong yet. And then this one is 5.9 times 2. Great. And then we need to place this relative to the top plane. And that is going to be 9.25. 9.25. Uh-huh. And that is that circle. So we're going to take that and extrude it. And I can tell from the sketch, or from the drawing, that I'm going to extrude it up to this other surface, which is right here, up to this surface. Great. Now, maybe before I forget them, there is a little tiny fillet in here. Bloop. And that one is 0.3. And then there is a little one right in here, same one. Oh, not what I wanted. Delete. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Okay, now how do I want to do this? I'm now going to draw a box. I'm not going to draw those boxes. I'll draw one box and then mirror it. Okay, so on this plane, I'm going to draw something. Go look normal to that. In essence, I have something like this that's getting drawn, and something like this that's getting drawn. I try that all at once. Okay, so from this plane to this plane, whoops, from this plane to this is going to be 16.7. Okay, and then this plane, or that line to this plane, 14.4. 14.4. Okay. Then this one to that plane, 15.9. And then this one to this plane is 15.4. Did I just do that wrong? 15.4. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we got to get those dimensions off into the sides of them. Okay, so from here to here is 2.9. 2.9. Okay, and then from here to here, I see that crossed over there, but that's not bothering me yet. We're just in sketch mode, so this is 11. Okay, now what I need to do is get this one to this one. This is 4.45. And then this one to this one, 9.46. Okay, there we go. It's turned black. We've defined everything. So that's great. Now we're going to take that thing and we're going to extrude it up to surface, up to this surface. So I can tell that they're in the same spot. Okay. Then what we're going to do, wow, how are we going to do this one? Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make a cut. We're going to make a cut. Okay. And we're going to do it on this face. Make a sketch. Okay. We're going to make a cut that looks something like this. Not entirely sure how far that has to go. We're going to make a cut that's something like this. And what we have to do now is dimension this thing. Okay, and we know that from here to here is a certain amount. And that is 4.8. Okay, and then from here to here is an amount that is 9.1. 9.1. Okay, and then we know that from here to here is 180 minus 40, so 140. And then we know that this one from here is also 140. 140. Okay. And then this line to here is 14.4. No, it is 10.8. Okay. And then these ones here are just, these remaining ones are arbitrary. Whoops, that was a bad one. 9.6. Okay, I'm going to accept that. I'm going to take this sketch then and I'm going to cut. And I'm going to cut up to surface, which is this one. And I'm going to hit save. I know I'm getting near the end here. Okay, I'm going to take everything I just did, which is this, and mirror it across the center plane. Save. And I have one more little thing to do. That is, I have to make that, there's like another little thing right here. Another little rib. Okay, I'm now in sketch 31. I'm becoming an expert at sketching. Okay, so we're gonna have this go right up in here, like this. I've done this offset so that I can get the center point without it sitting on top of the plane. Okay, so make intersection. We could actually do that, but I want it to give me the coincidence. Why it will not give me the coincident, I don't know, but the make intersection will also work. Okay. Let's go look at this. Let's go look this way. What is that dimension? That's 0.6 times 2, so 1.2. And then from here up to here, whoops, cancel, I clicked in the wrong spot. From here up to here needs to be 18.6. Okay. Now, we can move this. We just need it to be down in here somewhere. 3. Okay, we're going to extrude this up, but I don't know how much up it is supposed to go. Gotta look at the drawing. I gotta find a cross section that's going to tell me that. Okay, section AJ will tell me. That's interesting. Okay, I made a mistake on this other part. So this goes up 3.9. That part that we just did goes up 3.9. But this end of the battery thing is not flush, i.e. this part of the battery. Okay, so this, let me just fix this here. So this is 3.9. 3.9. Okay, save that. That's 3.9, and that's also messed up. This is not flush with this. So we need to go change something here. I'm going to do that. Okay, that's complicated. That's complicated. I either have to raise everything up and then chop it down only at the front, i.e. because this circle was part of this circle. Remember that whole thing, right? So I'm going to do something that's not super great. Because either way, I either have to chop everything down or lift a portion up. Excuse me, I have to either chop some stuff down or lift some stuff up, which is just a little bit messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back before the thing that I just did, make that disappear, and then I'm going to create a reference plane from this plane, but my reference surface is going to be this one. I'm going to offset some amount from that, and the amount that I want to offset from that is the height that all that stuff should be. So just going to check that right now. And that was in AJ, so that should be 3.9. I think that's what I just did with that other thing, and that was wrong. It should have been, that other one should have been 2.9. So I want this to be offset 3.9. 3.9. Okay. I can see what's going on there. So we're going to accept that. Then I'm going to make a new sketch on this plane. New sketch. I want to go now look normal to this, and when I do, I think it's going to show me the side view. Oh no, there we go. And I am going to convert entity this and this and this and this and this and this, and actually I can just click the whole face. Delete this, clear sections, convert entity, boom, I can connect that, collect that whole face. Now I have this sketch. Now what I do is I want to extrude this sketch. I really hate that I'm doing this, by the way, but I'm going to extrude this up to the plane that we just created. Whoa. Can I do that? Okay, so, okay, can I not extrude up to a plane? I thought I could. Okay, I lost my extrude, that kind of stopped. And I want to go blind up to surface. There we go. And hit OK on that. Okay, see what's going on here is that this portion, let me turn this off for a minute. This portion is taller than this portion. At least that's what the drawing reads like to me. So, what I do is I want to turn on this thing here, and then I have to change this last bit's height because I made that go up too high. That's going to be 2.9 instead of 3.9. 2.9. Save. Okay, we have finished that. We're just going to do a double check here. Make sure everything is looking okay. Okay, so I got that. Big circle, big circle, big circle. This pattern kind of up here. Then I have small, small, small post. Then I have all the cutouts around those. And then up here I have that post and these rings. Then I have these 3 posts, those 3 ribs, those 2 ribs, this little post and those 2 posts. And then I got these 3 things and these 3 things. And then I have this situation and this situation. So the underside is correct. The front side, we forgot to put our radius on that. So let's go check that. That's fine. Okay, we need a 2. We need a radius of 2. Fillet. We need this guy to become 2. Boom. Okay, now, file, save. What else have we done here? I can tell that there is a little chamfer that needs to be put around this edge, according to the drawings, but it's not in there yet. It's not dimensioned in the drawing. So I'm going to check this. Mass properties and just see how we're doing. Mass properties, 25.5 grams. 25.55 grams. Yeah, my front cover is a little bit heavier than it should be, but I think actually it's because of that chamfer that's going to go all the way around. So I'm going to, for now, save this and just be done with it. Get back into perspective. Okay, so there we go. It's looking pretty good. All right, it's the next morning. I've come back into the office because I was thinking about the model that I created, and soon after I left the office yesterday, I realized why my mass wasn't at basically around 24 grams, 24 and a half grams or something like that. And the reason is that I forgot to do a set of features in the product. And so those features are the features that appear on page, largely on page 6 or sheet 6 out of 6 in the front cover ET66 drawing. I should have done this. It's the right thing for me to have done would have been to check my strategy afterwards to see if I had hit everything. Also to have more thoroughly checked the drawing to see if I did everything. And what I did not do was everything in my strategy that was steps 20 and 21. And so these are going to remove some mass from the device, and that's going to get us closer to the mass that we should have. So looking at my strategy, deciding how I want to do that, coming into my top cover here, now back into the model, and I'm gonna make that happen. So I need to put some cutouts in these sides. These cutouts are so that the bottom cover, which we have not modeled, but the bottom cover will snap around the top cover and hold itself together nicely. Okay, so I have 2 cuts that I need to do, and I think I'm just going to do both these cuts at the same time. I do a cut on this face right here. Okay, we're on sketch 33 now. And I have to make sure that I don't get confused about the orientation of things that I'm looking at. So I prefer to have it be just like the drawing. I'm going to move this thing around like this, and then I'm going to be looking at this in the same way that the drawing is oriented. This will help me just to avoid getting confused about things. Okay, so in my sketch then, first thing I'm going to do is convert entity, and I'm going to convert this line. See, do I want to do that? No, I don't even want to do that. So let me escape out of this. What I want to do actually is create a rectangle that's lined up with that line. Just as you see right here, that line is highlighted, meaning it's going to try to line that up. Okay, and then I actually have another one of these rectangles somewhere else down here. Don't want to zoom out too far at this point, but what I'm going to do is make these rectangles the same size. Let's actually check to see that they're the same size. Okay, 55 minus 42.6. Yeah, 99 minus 91.6. So I'm going to make this edge, holding down the shift key now, clicking this other one, and I'm going to say that they're equal. That means they're equal in length. Then I'm going to pick this one and this one, and they're going to be equal in length. That didn't really work because I didn't pick a line the first time. And they're going to make this one equal in length. Okay, and then I don't know if it's been done yet. I guess not. I'm just going to make sure that these are collinear. Let me take all 3 of those and make those collinear. Then I'm going to put some dimensions on this. Okay, and these are going to be equal to 50.5 minus 42.6. Okay, that's 7.9. Okay, and then looking at the drawing, I got 1.4 for this dimension. 1.4. Okay, and now we have made these sizes correct. We just need to get them placed in space. So I need to turn my primary planes back on so that I know, my main datums back on so I know what I'm measuring to. 42.6 to this front edge. So from the top plane, okay, I want to dimension this. From the top plane to this line, 42.6. 42.6. Okay, great. And then I get the other one from this plane down to this line. And because I'm doing both these features together and not as separate features, it means their depth when I make the cut are going to be tied together. I can't do separate depths on these. But I can tell from the drawing that I want them to be the same depth. So that's going to be okay. Okay, then I just kind of say okay on this, accept that. I'm going to turn off these planes for a second just to see how that's going. Okay, and then we are going to, the depth of the slides, I'm looking at note number 1 now on sheet 6 of 6. The depth of the side slots is defined in sheet 5. Okay, great. This is kind of helpful. Okay, where can I see that? It will, reading the notes. Okay, it's possible that AG tells me this. Yes, it does. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm looking for a spot on the drawing where there is a line that goes kind of through that area where those slots would be. In AG, section AG seems to go through that area-ish. And I can see now in section AG that there is a 1 millimeter depth to those cuts. So now that I have that sketch highlighted, I'm going to do an extruded cut. And I want to go down 1 millimeter. And let's just make sure we went the right way. And we did. Okay, and there are my cutouts. These same cutouts exist on the other side of this product. So I'm going to mirror those across the right plane. I'm going to go get that, highlight that feature, cut extrude 13. And I'm going to mirror it across this plane here, which is the right plane. And now I see that I have those cuts on both sides. Now I have a similar thing that needs to be done here at the bottom. And that's also defined on sheet 6.6. Okay, and maybe what I'm going to do on this one is just do a linear pattern. So I'm going to make one of those. Turn these planes off because they're kind of in the way. I'm going to make a new sketch on this surface. Come down here, look normal to that. It's upside down now. I don't really like it to be upside down like that. I can kind of rotate it like this, just rotate it around, and then tell it to look at this face. Now I'm oriented just as I am in the hand sketch, which I tend to like to do it that way. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to dimension this. And my dimension on this one is going to be 28.5 minus 20.4. And my height on this, okay, so I can see 7 by 1.4. Yeah, and so all these little slots, you can see on the far left of that drawing on the side view, it says 7x 1.4. That means all of these slots, that all of the features that appear to have that same geometry have that same number. So that's 1.4 in terms of its height. Okay, great. So what have I done? I've now given it a proper size, but I have not placed it in space yet. I can still take this rectangle and move it. See this? So not placed in space yet. This is my right plane. If I hover on it, it will tell me that's my right plane. And we want to dimension from the right plane. Dimension from the right plane to this edge. And this one needs to be 20.4. Okay, excellent. So now that's placed in space. I'm going to accept that. We know this is going to be 1 millimeter deep. So I'm going to take that sketch, extruded cut, 1 millimeter deep. Excellent. That has worked out. Now we're going to do a linear pattern on this. So I'm going to get that extrude cut 14, do a linear pattern. I tell it what direction I want to go. I want to go in that direction. Excuse me, that kind of orientation, but I want to flip the direction like that. And now I have to get the pitch, right? The pitch is the distance from center to center of these things. And I have to just do the tiny bit of math there. So it's going to be, let's actually see if we can make this. Let's see if we can make this work here. I wonder if we can do like parenthetical statements in here. 20, okay, it should be 20.4. 20.4 plus half of 28. Okay, half of, let's do a double parentheses here, 28.5 minus 20.4, close parentheses, divide by 2, close parentheses. That should be our number. And we will know if this is right. That's 24.45. We'll know if this is right if this center box, if this box is in the center. And also we can see this line has lined up with this fillet line. At least it's close to it. And this one over here is close to it. So that's looking about right, but I'm just going to do a double check on this to make sure that math didn't get messed up by doing a measure. I'm going to measure from this plane to this edge here, and my distance is 4.05. So now if I make that same measurement to the opposite wall, right over there, we will get that same number. So from this face, this plane, over to this face, should also get 4.05, and we did. So we know then that that is centered just right. Okay, so this then is, other than that chamfer that kind of, where's that chamfer in this drawing? There's a little chamfer on detail Q, basically in the top right corner, that I do not have modeled, and that's troubling me just a little bit, but it's not dimensioned in this drawing, so I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to try to just keep that in my mind, that needs to be done. And here we have our part. So we can see then that we have added in those features there, and also there, and also on the bottom. Okay, so I'm just using the arrow keys here to mess around with this. Okay, that is our part. Okay, wow. That was a lot of modeling, and that is a complex model. And frankly, I just want to say right now that if you followed along, if you did it yourself with me or without me, but you did that model, you have accomplished something great. And I just applaud you for doing that. If you haven't done it, I encourage you to do it, because once you've done this model, you can handle a large percentage of the solid CAD models we deal with in engineering.